According to the Separated Parenting Access and Resource Center in the United States, 62% of mothers do not receive child support. Of that 62%, three-fourths simply do not want, need, or have accepted other financial arrangements. Only 11% of women who do not receive child support is due to the deadbeat dad craze. I have a child from a previous relationship, and I am very actively involved in the life of my son. Everything from his well-being as a person to making sure all financial needs are met, but for some reason his mother still thought it to be prudent to place me on court-ordered child support. The measures in place that are used to enforce child support are knee-jerk reactions used to oppress the many for crimes of the few. The system does not help fathers who may have the means to fully support a child or children. I believe that many reforms are needed to try to support fathers instead of punishing them or demeaning them. The origins of child support are quite interesting. According to www.childsupportlawsstatebystate.com, America inherited many English laws in the late 18th and early 19th centuries, and these laws found that fathers had only a non-enforceable moral duty to support his children. Third-party enforcement had to be pre-authorized in the contract by the child's father. Over time, the American courts began to tackle the notion that a father had a legal obligation to support his offspring. Courts ruled that the absent father was legally bound to protect, educate, maintain, and legitimate children. This is when the child support laws were reformed. The legal purpose of child support was to prevent the descent into poverty after divorce. Many times after the divorce, the father almost always profited and the mother always became impoverished. While the fathers prospered and the family was impoverished, a new term was coined, calling the dads deadbeats, a euphemism used in the early 20th century for someone who did not take care of business. In Georgia, child support is normally calculated by taking the parent with the most income, in most cases the father, and judging that they are responsible for 60% of the child's welfare. If the father does not make more than the mother, then he's normally ordered to pay a set amount of 60% of his income. The methods used to enforce child support are the same for each case, but they seem to punish more of the habits of the few. When the child support fell behind, many measures are used to collect the arrears. According to the Georgia Division of Child Support Services, enforcement measures began with collections, where you would go and place a collection hold on the parent's account, suspended driver's license, where you would suspend the parent's driver's license until they caught up in the arrears, and jail, where the parent would be forced to serve jail time until the arrears are caught up. Jail, being the last form of enforcement, causes an endless cycle of debt. We as ordinary citizens need to try and help with ideas to keep parents out of jail and to help support their children. One of the many ways that we could help do this would be providing training for fathers to help gain employable skills. Many fathers today fall below the poverty line. Without employable skills, they are unable to find gaining in meaningful employment to help care for the children. If we could come up with a program or solution to try to help these fathers gain the skills needed to be employable assets in the workforce, this would be a major step in helping to reduce the number of so-called deadbeat parents. Assisting with continuing education is the next step. Once again, many parents find themselves not even having high school diplomas. If we could take those parents who do not have the diplomas and give them the necessary means that they need to continue education, that will help lessen penalties of parents and show an ability to pay, but are having a rough time financially. Child support, even though it's meant to help, is now seen as a hindrance. And without measures or reforms, parents will be caught in a vicious cycle of debt, jail, or both. Please join me in helping our fellow brothers and sisters stop being considered pariahs and become pillars of society. Without these pillars of society, there will always be an endless cycle of child poverty or family impoverishment. Most of the unemployed or undereducated parents seem to be minorities. Minorities are more often focused are the focus of child support enforcement acts that do not seem to want to help provide, more so punish those who cannot pay. Fortunately, Georgia has come up with a plan to try to help parents become more actively involved in the life of their children and also help maintain support. The court is now organizing a program to help children and help fathers or mothers who cannot support their children become better educated and more ready for the workforce, as described in the steps I laid out earlier. And once again, like I said before, please join me in helping our fellow brothers and sisters to stop being considered deadbeats and stop being considered the scum of society and help them maintain and grow what is needed in the United States, which is a strong family unit.